want to talk to you about something that I sort of touched on actually on I touched on this on Monday, and I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and also I have been asked some questions about this kind of topic today, and I just wanted to really touch on it. Not that I want to go into a rant or anything, but we are we are almost at that. But I want to talk to you about why we need to reframe success and how we perceive success and what we perceive success to be. Because this is something that I see so often, and well, I don't know if it annoys me. I don't know if that is the right word for it, but it just got me thinking, and the way that we perceive success and the way that we think about success. So I want to talk to you about why we need to reframe success. So as always, I'm Rebecca Lockwood, your neuro-linguistic programming trainer, hypnotherapy trainer and breakthrough coach trainer. I'm regularly featured in places like Cosmopolitan, Elle magazine. I've just literally today been in Planetful magazine, which is really exciting, talking about sorry and forgiveness and apologies, which is really, really interesting. I shared it over on my stories on Instagram and on Facebook. I shared it on my profile if you want to have a look. It is a lovely magazine. We've been in it a couple of times. But let's dive into this today. I've got literally 5-10 minutes before my kids get back, and I just wanted to talk about this because the way that we perceive success in society and the way that we talk about success in general, especially in the online business and online coaching industry and in mainstream media, I think that we need to shake this up a little bit. And I really believe that we need to question the way that we are perceiving what it means to be successful for ourselves and for who we are. I just got asked to give some comments for, I don't actually know what the media outlet was, but I got asked to give some comments today for a writer, and she was asking me about, what does it mean when we are expected to be productive and always be on? What does this mean? And because I've been thinking about success and how we perceive success anyway all week, and today I was thinking I need to talk about this more, it really hit me even more because we are so accessible, right? We've got phones that have so many ways to get in touch with us, so many ways to contact us, so many ways to message us, especially when we have a business. So when we have a business, we have Instagram, and we probably have this personally as well. But when we have a business, we may have 2 Instagram accounts and 2 Facebook accounts and a Facebook profile and a Facebook group and email and then customer service chats and stuff. There are so many ways for us to be accessible. I have people who message me on my personal Facebook page, my business page, and email at the same time to ask for help with something, and they might send me the same thing to all of these outlets. So there's this kind of notion that people have where either people expect people to always be on, or people think that people expect them to always be on, and it might not necessarily be the case, but they just have that perception. So that's kind of what the conversation was about with this media company today, which was really interesting. So I'm excited to see that article come to fruition. So what I actually want to dive into is why we need to reframe success and what that really means. So many people are chasing this idea of success. And on Monday, I spoke about how my opinion and my view and perception on what success means for me has shifted so much in this last 2 years. The lockdown situation really brought a lot to light for me personally, and it made me do a lot of reflecting on what do I really want, what is important to me. And I gave you the example on Monday about my friend and I were having a conversation, and she asked me a question, and it's funny how I would have previously answered the question and how now I answer the question based on my own personal perception of what success means to me. And it really made me realize that often we chase this version of success based on things that we see other people doing, or what we think we should be doing based on the media, society, what we see around us, what we see on social media. And so I just really want to talk to that. So we have this notion of chasing the success, of filling ourselves up. I spoke to Spirit and Destiny magazine about this. It was over a year ago now. I cannot believe it. We did a Facebook Live series, and I spoke a lot about this, how what we tend to do is we tend to try and fill ourselves up with these things outside of ourselves in order to try and make us feel happy and successful. But what happens when we consistently fill ourselves up is it never ends, right? So I'm kind of jumping ahead here. I've got a couple of notes to make sure I keep on track, and this was number 3. But I'll continue because it's really important, and I don't want to rant too much, but I just think that this needs addressing and this needs talking to. Let me know if this is making sense, if this is resonating with you. Let me know what your version of success is, and how and when was like how do you check in with what success means to you? And how do you know? How do you know what it means to be successful? Like, how would you know when you are a success? I get so many people come to me and say, well, I will be successful when, I will be happy when, I will have made it when. And I feel like I'm kind of jumping across lots of different things here, but I think this is important. I used to chase this idea of being in Forbes magazine. I used to think, when I am in Forbes magazine, then I will be successful. And do you know what happened? I was approached by Forbes and I was invited to be a contributor to Forbes. But do you know what? It would cost me, I can't remember how much it was, but I'm sure it was about £1,000 a month. Pardon? Excuse me? To be on their contributors platform. And it really made me realise that, firstly, all of the people who I have seen appearing on Forbes and all of the people who I had seen, now I'm not saying this happens for everybody, not everybody pays to be a contributor to Forbes. Sometimes people are included in articles and used as experts, but other times contributors to Forbes do pay to be in the contributor network, which is what I was invited to take part in. And I asked myself the question, is this actually success for me? Like, does this actually mean that I have reached my success in this goal or thing that I was working towards? And actually, I realised that I didn't really want that. And it was only until it was offered to me on a plate and offered, well, obviously I had to pay for it, until it was offered to me that I sat back and thought to myself, is this actually success to me? And it wasn't. So it made me really, really rethink it. So let's talk about this idea of success and how we can really ask ourselves, like, what does success mean to us? So the first thing that we really need to do is ask ourselves, is this actually my version of success? What does success mean to me? Often I'm asked to comment on stuff about social media and about people comparing themselves to other things or other people. And one of the things that I say is social media is definitely a place where we can see people doing things and be inspired by other people doing things and think that because we're inspired by what they're doing, we want to do that thing too. And that's amazing. But is it actually what you want? Like, is it really something that you want, or is it something that you have just seen somebody else doing, and then because you think it looks like they're successful doing it, you want to do it too? This happens all the time when it comes to sales campaigns, especially with online businesses, where they may look at someone doing something that appears on the outside like it's successful, and then they think, oh, well, that person is doing this successfully, that means I should be doing that too. But actually, is it really what you want to do, and does it actually equal success for you? Or is it just that you've seen somebody else doing it and you think because they're doing it, you should be doing it too? Sally down the road just bought a new car, that makes you question, Sally's just bought a new car. Should I buy a new car too? Like, do you actually want that car, or is it because you've seen somebody else that's got it that's made you consider it too? Now, it's okay to get inspiration from other people. Of course it is. That's like amazing. It is okay to look outside of yourself to find them pieces of inspiration and things that you might want to take action on. But is it actually what equals success for you? If it is, amazing. If it doesn't, then it's not your version of success. But so often we chase these things outside of ourselves because we've seen somebody else doing something, and then we think it's our version of success, but we don't realize until we get there that actually it's not our version of success and it's not really what we wanted in the first place. The second thing, being busy all of the time does not equal success. Being busy all of the time does not equal success. I used to find myself, and this is what I spoke about on Monday as well, I used to find myself in this energy of needing to do, and especially as and I feel like I'm an out and out entrepreneur, especially as somebody who is an entrepreneur who takes action very quickly. I used to find myself in this space of, I always need to be on, I always need to be available, I always need to make sure I'm moving, I always need to make sure I'm doing, I always need to make sure I'm working. If I'm not working, then I am not doing anything. If I am not, and I even used to say, if I am not learning, if I am not doing, if I am not taking action, if I am not moving, then I am not getting the success that I want. But actually, is that true? Is that true? I realized for me that that was a really toxic belief to have, because now I actually measure my success based on how much time I have to do nothing, based on how much time I can sit and watch Netflix for, based on how much time and how many hours I can spend just going to play badminton or going to play squash. Or I had to play squash because Neil refused to play badminton with me. Or going to do things that I enjoy, or doing hobbies, or spending time with my kids. I now equal success based on how much time I have to reflect and how much space and time I have in my life, rather than how busy I am. Now, just because I experience success in that way, it doesn't mean other people will too. Like, I'm not saying to you that this should be how you determine your success. Definitely not. What I'm saying is that you need to check in with yourself and ask yourself, like, what is your version of success? What does success actually mean to you? And yes, you may be inspired by other people. You may be inspired by something I'm saying. You may be thinking, what is she on about? Right? And that doesn't matter, because what you need to do is you need to get curious about your own version of success, and that is what the important thing is. So number 3, filling yourself up with things outside of yourself does not always mean success for you. Filling yourself up with things outside of yourself does not always mean success for you. Marketing is very clever. When somebody markets something, or when somebody is, selling, whether it's a cup or a crystal or, a mouse, whatever it is, whenever somebody is marketing something, whenever a company is marketing something, they want you to think that you need that thing in your life in order to be a success, in order to be happy, right? So every single marketing ploy, everything that is marketed to you is teaching you and reinforcing the belief that you need to fill yourself up from things outside of yourself to be successful or to be happy. Right? Because success and happiness, do they equal the same thing? Maybe, right? But when we achieve the things that we believed we wanted to do to be successful, do we get happy? Not always, right? And why is that? Because we're trying to either fulfill somebody else's version of success, or we've got the wrong version of success, or we have been chasing something outside of ourselves and trying to fill ourselves up with something outside of ourselves, trying to just constantly do this. This is why things like shopping addictions, any other addiction, alcohol, drugs, anything like this, because we're trying to fill ourselves up from outside of ourselves, and and it never gets us there, right? It never fulfills us because, and we feel like we have to consistently do it. So every single marketing ploy, every single marketing message that you see is to tell you, you need this to feel happy. You need this to feel successful. You need this to be happy. You need this to feel successful. You get where I'm going with this, right? So sometimes we may need stuff and we may want stuff, and that's absolutely fine. But we have to remember and ask ourselves, is this my version of success? Do I really want this? And I'm pretty sure the kids have just come through the door. So I'm going to wrap this up really nice and quickly. So as always, I'm Rebecca Lockwood, and I've seen a couple of questions actually come in. So yes, right, I can see a couple of comments come in. Nina says, how do you differentiate between inspiration from others but doing what's right for you, even if it's different from that inspiration? Really good question. I think I already answered that. You need to yes, we can be inspired by others, and that's amazing, but we need to check in and ask ourselves, what is my version of success? What does success mean to me? What's important to me? And I'm going to wrap this up now because I can hear my kids walking through the door and up the stairs. As always, I'm Rebecca Lockwood, your neurolinguistic programming trainer, hypnotherapy trainer, and breakthrough coach trainer. There are a couple of links to some free training that I have coming up. If you're on Facebook with me, it is in the link in the description. And if you're on Instagram with me, it's in the link in my profile at rebecca.lockwood. Have an amazing evening. If you've got any questions and you want to also download our free NLP guide, just pop me a message with NLP guide and I'll pop you the link for that as well. Have an amazing evening, and I'll catch up with you all soon.